like yourself in the field. So I have a fun question for you because obviously we're going to be talking about life insurance tonight. And how does having life insurance help a person with a home? I know I've had clients where I've helped them with investments, and because they were able to build investments over time, they were able to show liquid assets, and that helped them get the home. But does a person having life insurance show as not necessarily collateral, but show us, hey, if anything were to happen, this family could still afford to stay in this home? Does that work in any way in real estate?
Not in that way. The way it's gonna work for having a life insurance is buying a house is the biggest asset for most American, for 95% of American people. They will purchase in their life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for that biggest asset, what I always tell every single one of my clients is you have to make sure what's going to happen. You say, I'm happy, I get you in this house, you enjoy it. But the question now is, what's going to happen if mom and dad are not here anymore to pay for this house? Who's going
Mm-hmm.
to take care of it? Well, who's going to take care of your children? Most people will say, my brother, my sister, my mom. Okay, does your brother, your sister, and your mom have the finances to take care of your children and maintain this house? Most of the time, most people will say, no. Okay, so you need to have a plan if something happened to you today to at least this bigger asset. You live in a house for 15 years, you invest all this money on it. Unfortunately, you passed away. You're the main person who bring income in the house. So you're gone and the house is gone because
Mm-hmm.
maybe your wife doesn't have a job and she cannot afford a $2,000 or $2,500 mortgage payment with 3 kids in her arm, right? So
Right.
you have your life insurance to protect you. You have to make sure you have a will. Anytime you see people, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't have a lot of assets. I don't need a will." No, you do need a will. You need to sit down and draw it down. Who's gonna get this house and how the house will be handled if you passed away? Because this it's a house, but it doesn't mean necessarily if you passed away it has to be sold. The house can stay in the family. That's the legacy on it.
Right.
These bricks are a legacy. So the family can put it for rent, and that rental money will come every single month. You're gonna build equity on this house every single year, right? So you bought
Mm-hmm.
it at 100, maybe 10 years, 20 years down the line. The history has shown that the value of home always, most of the time, have been going up. So you bought it at 100, 20 years down the line, it's probably going to be $300,000. That's the legacy that you leave for your children.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have everything written down on paper, whoever is going to be managing your children money will also be managing this asset. So put tenants in there, they bring money to help raise your children. Having tenants in there will be the money to maybe help to pay for college tuition, and then when the kids are tired of it and they're grown, they're like, you know what, we don't want this house anymore. Let's just sell it and walk away with the equity on it. So
Right.
yes, life insurance is very important. Planning is very important. So everybody needs to take a minute. And, it's great to buy a house, but just don't stop there. Look at the whole plan. Make sure this house has a strong foundation and is solid, and it will go
Awesome.
nowhere if something happened.
Awesome. So you just hit on something about that extra stream of income. It's passive coming in. Phoebe, you talked about that last time about having extra stream of income helping out, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always good to have extra streams of income coming in for various reasons. Which, yes, one of them could be an unfortunate, circumstance like somebody passing away in your family, which, definitely is a great segue into what we are definitely talking about today. And so like Danielle said, I mean, yeah, we absolutely want to make sure that, that we're protecting families in the right way. And, a lot of times when families look at life insurance, it's, nobody likes talking about, that's this type of thing. But, a lot of times when we ask people, hey, what's your largest asset? A lot of times they'll tell us, hey, our largest asset is our house. Cause that's really the number one thing that people think about. It is the biggest purchase that most people make, right? In for most families, right? But when you really think about, your largest asset, really that is your income. And I'm going to show you guys really why that is the way it is. When we describe people's financial situation, we look at their financial situation like building a house. And I'm going to share here with you guys a visual of how that really looks. We want to build people strong financial houses. And when you build a house, you start from the foundation and you work your way up, right? And so the foundation of a family's house is really their income, right? If you have a husband and a wife and they're both working, they're both bringing income into their household, we want to make sure that both of those incomes are protected. Why? Because those incomes, they pay for their mortgage, they pay for debt, they pay for their children's, living expenses, their day-to-day expenses. Now, if God forbid something was to happen to one of those incomes, then of course that family would be financially devastated. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that that is the number one priority when we're looking at a family's financial stability. And then from there, we work our way up, and we want to make sure that other things are in place. As you can see here, we want to make sure that they have a will and an emergency fund set up, and we really take a look at their budget and understand where every family's individual needs. Then we want to eliminate their debt, show them how to completely wipe out their debt, show them how to save and invest for different things like retiring and children's college education. Various other reasons that people save and invest for. And then, of course, we want to get to that roof, which is helping families accomplish their goals, their dreams, the things that they really want to accomplish in life, and really helping them achieve financial freedom. And that really is different for everybody. So we want to help people really build a strong financial house. And the way that we do that is by putting together a financial game plan. We call that a financial needs analysis. And it's a complementary plan that we put in place to really help families understand, hey, this is where I stand right now. This is where I want to be in the future. How do I actually get there? Right. And so, going back to that, protecting a family's income, there's different ways that people can really decide, hey, do I have life insurance? Do I have the right kind of life insurance? Do I have enough insurance? There's a lot of questions that comes to mind when you're looking at life insurance. And, I'm going to let Ideja really explain to you guys how do you figure out how much life insurance you need and what type of life insurance is really maybe appropriate or the best fitting for you and your family.
Awesome. So as Phoebe mentioned, knowing what kind of life insurance is really something that gives you a peace of mind, because you want to know that if you're getting an insurance product because you're thinking about your loved ones, you're thinking if anything happens, you want to make sure that they're secure, you got to know that what you have is going to do what you think it's going to do. So basically, there are two main types of life insurance. You have your term insurance, and then you have what's called whole life. Now, whole life takes on a lot of different names. You'll hear universal, flexible, all of those different names. They fall into the category of whole life insurance. Now, here is the difference between the two. Term is for a specific amount of time, and whole life is supposed to be for your whole life, and then there's a savings element that's attached to it. Now, when it comes to term, we actually believe in just having a pure insurance product and then doing investments outside. Why is that? With whole life products, in most cases, a family will have the insurance and they would have the savings. However, if anything happens to the primary insured, their family will get the insurance or the savings, whichever is higher, but they don't get it both. Now, if you're paying for two things, what do you want? Two things, right? I want it both. If I have insurance and I have savings, I want my family to get both. But with whole life, that doesn't normally happen. And quite honestly, in a lot of situations, we see those policies cancel out within about 10 to 15 years. So it's not necessarily for your whole life. One of the things I like to use, especially when I'm sitting down with clients, is a book called Personal Finance for Dummies. Now, this is not because my clients are dummies. I have some of the sharpest people in the world that I sit down with. But why is because it simplifies how to look at money and finance. And inside of that book, which was not written by any affiliate of mine, it actually states you can save thousands of hours and thousands of dollars by just buying